Kosti Ivanov of Boston, Massachusetts. He'll be driving a 74 Vega. He'll be in the right lane. Dale Paulding of Van Nuys, California, the left lane in the 74 Pontiac.
That Pontiac is a Grand Am body style. There are a couple of those entered at this Spring Nationals, and a most unique car and with tremendous horsepower out of Mickey Thompson's shop. Dale Paulding up in smoke. The Boston Shaker of Kosti Ivanov, a 661, taking the win easily over a smoking Dale Paulding.
Explaining that once again, you see a lot of smoke like that. There's no traction. The tires aren't adhering to the track. You're not getting any traction. The horsepower is going to waste.
What they're doing, Ted, is just making another burnout, but not at the right time.
Gene Snow, Fort Worth, Texas. He'll be in the left lane. He's an old veteran of this. Don Schumacher, Park Ridge, Illinois, in a 74 Vega, the right lane. A matchup of identical cars.
Fine shot there of Gene Snow inside the car. You can see him inside the roll cage, very similar to the cage design on a Top Fuel dragster. Schumacher, of course, the Revell Super Shoe, the Revell Snowman, Gene Snow. Tremendous start for Snow. Something apparently down on horsepower for Schumacher as Snow streaks to the win to a 667.
And 6.93 for Don Schumacher. Not a very good race at all. Al Segrini of Silver Springs, Maryland, in the left lane. Leroy Goldstein of Mission Viejo, California. He'll be driving a 74 Satellite, a good burnout.
Al Segrini kind of losing himself in the smoke in the right-hand lane, driving for Whipple and Mr. Ed. The name Ed Wills, known amongst funny car racers particularly. He builds a number of the bodies that are used on these cars. Art Whipple, one of the finer mechanics around in the business today. Al Segrini driving this beautiful Black Magic car from Silver Springs, Maryland.
Again, they'll be staging very carefully. Again, the concentration, because in drag racing, it all happens at the line.
The advantage that can be gained at the starting line is look at that. Leroy Goldstein going instantly sideways right at the starting line as Segrini just eases her through.
He slows down. He recorded a 7:05 for that run.
Now look at this. Here you see it in slow motion, almost as if it's on a pivot. I bet he doesn't go 4 feet forward and almost turns the car completely to the right and almost into the guardrail, it looks like. Now he gets it corrected and starts to swing back around. The photographer's moving back as that fiberglass-bodied 1,800 horsepower monster heads right straight for them.
Good reaction time on the photographer's part.
Also good reaction time on the part of Leroy Goldstein. He was headed straight for the guardrail and yet saved any damage to that fiberglass body.
What could have caused that, do you think?
Could have been anything, Ted. Could have been water under the tires, one wheel pulling, the other one not, like you would drive a Caterpillar tractor, something like that. Could be some problems in the differential, also causing it to turn that way.
Now back at the starting line, John Shoemaker of Farmington, Michigan. He'll be in the left lane. Larry Fullerton of Jacksonville, Florida. Fullerton driving a 74 Mustang and Shoemaker a 74 Pontiac.
Fullerton's Trojan Horse Mustang is one of the few 74 Mustang 2 bodies in funny car racing today. It certainly is one of the lowest in wind cheating that you could ask for. He also has problems putting all that horsepower to the ground, too.
And there's the time. 7:46 the winning time for 14:72 for the losing effort. Now let's move to Pro Stock and round one. First matchup, Bob Glidden of Greenwood, Indiana in a 73 Pinto against Wayne Gapp of Birmingham, Michigan. He'll be in the left lane in a 73 Pinto.
Pro Stock of Ted is the battle of the super hot cars, similar to what you see on the street. These are, in this case, Gapp and Roush bringing their 74 Mustang to this event. In the right-hand lane, the man that won the Pro Stock title at the Nationals a year ago at Indianapolis Raceway Park, Bob Glidden in the Pinto. These cars are powered by engines using only gasoline. Here's the world champion, Wayne Gapp. Using only gasoline, they are limited to 2 4-barrel carburetors and considerable chassis modifications to allow them to run elapsed times in the high 8s and low 9s, and over 150.
An extremely close race. Bob Glidden 9:18, Wayne Gapp a 9.29.
Here's the car of Billy Stepp from Dayton, Ohio. Bobby Ewell doing the driving. Reed Wisnett from Atlanta, Georgia, be lining up in the left-hand lane. Wisnett making his burnout here. Much shorter than the Top Fuel funny car burnouts. All they're trying to do is heat up the tires, provide the traction. There's the concentration on the face of Bobby Ewell. And the acceleration as these cars leave the starting line.
Extremely close race at this point, and it's going to be Bobby Ewell, a time of 9.06 to 9.27, and a speed of 145 miles an hour, the winning speed. Dave Canners of Troy, Michigan, a 74 Hornet. He'll be in the right lane. Kelly Chadwick of Amarillo, Texas, a 74 Vega. He'll be in the left lane.
This car is powered by different sized engines. You will find the hemispherical combustion chamber engine in the Chrysler product cars, the small block Chevrolet in the Chevy Vega. Maskin and Canners using a small block engine in the Hornets. They are varied by weight to allow them to compete on an even basis.
At the line, extremely close, 9.23 the winning time, 9:31 for Chadwick, a losing effort, and there is the margin of victory, less than a half a car length.
We talk about an even basis, that's what it's all about.
Roy Hill of High Point, North Carolina, in a 73 Duster. Kelly Hahn of Tampa, Florida, in the left lane in a 74 Duster.
The cars are paired in the first round, Ted, by the way they qualified. Some 30 pro stockers were entered for this event, over 30 of them, and they qualified both Friday and Saturday leading up to today's finals, and the 16 quickest go into the final eliminations, and we're seeing them right now in first round of eliminations. Roy Hill from High Point, North Carolina, on an easy race here. Some problems obviously for Kenny Hahn. 9:26 the time for Hill at 149 miles an hour. Here's Sonny Bryant out of Orange, California. He's driving the Camaro. And you saw and heard a backfire there, and apparently maybe some problems. This is Scott Shafarov from New York. Shafarov nodding that he will get a single run, as Sonny Bryant with problems. You saw it backfire right there after the burnout, and a tough break for him.
Scott Shafarov just cruising down the strip at a 9.25. Sonny Bryant's car being pushed away from the starting line. Could have been any one of a number of things caused the problem.
Certainly could. Here we have another example of the Camaro. Now these use the 427 cubic inch engines, or the big blocks as they're known as, and again must carry more weight than their competitors such as this Hornet, the AMC Hornet of Wally Booth. Two cars making up the American Motors Racing Team, the factory-backed team. Wally Booth winning the Gator Nationals back in March. First time ever for an American Motors car into the winner's circle in Pro Stock Eliminator.
Let's talk about what they're using for burnouts. Water or bleach?
Up until about this time a year ago, the racers could use any type of compound they wanted. Liquid, rubber, bleach, you name it, and it was used at a racetrack. But recently, the innovations in tires and also the improvements in traction compounds that are applied to the strips, it's become necessary to hold everybody to use just water. The water is provided by the racetrack. It's poured under the tires just to allow the tires to get an easy start.
We've got a race on our hands in this one.
We sure do. Richie Zool trying his best. 9:15 the winning time for Wally Booth, and 9:26 for Zool, and it was very close in the lights. The American Motors Hornet using the small block engine, the big block rat-motored Chevrolet of Richie Zool. We'll just see how close right here. Let's watch.
11 hundredths of a second separating the winning and losing effort there.
1,320 feet is the length of a racetrack at a drag strip. 1/4 of a mile, and you can see less than a car length separating them after a heads-up start.
In the right lane, Ken Dondero of Malvern, Pennsylvania in a 74 Vega. Jim Holleran of Hillside, Illinois in the left lane, a 74 Maverick.
And here's the story behind this race, this matchup, is the 74 Vega, the Grumpy's toy, normally driven by Bill Jenkins. But Jenkins relinquishing the driver's seat for this event to Ken Dondero. And you see Bill Jenkins right there acting as crew chief for this race, looking on. Here's the concentration on the face of Dondero. They still got Bill Jenkins' name on the side of the car.
We have pre-stage, and we are staged, and the tree goes green.
On one side of the tree, the left lane leaving a big red light for Jim Halloran. You saw him there. He knew that he had to take a chance at getting a hole shot. 9:15 the winning time, 9:34 with a red light, and losing automatically at the starting line was Jim Halloran. You can see how much earlier he left there on the slow motion shot over Ken Dondero.
And he got a traffic ticket. Joe Satmary of Hammond, Indiana will be in the left lane in the 73 Camaro.
Sam Giannino from Royal Oak, Michigan in the 74 Vega. And here's a perfect example of the small car, small engine, big car, big engine that is in pro stock today. Giannino using the 330 cubic inch engine and a tremendous start for Satmary in the big block 427 type Camaro.
Joe Satmary, the winner, a time of 9.31, 9:52 the losing effort, 147 miles an hour for the winning speed. Exciting racing. Spring Nationals. Now moving back to Top Fuelers, round 2, Jim Booker will be going against Dave Settles in the first matchup.
Ted, we're looking here at the car of Jim Booker. This is one of those super light entries, and it is powered by a Chevrolet engine. Without question, Jim has had the most successful Chevrolet dragster ever. Held the national record at one time and has been highly competitive, making his burnout here. Jim Booker, he's from Westchester, Ohio, suburb of Cincinnati.
Dave, let's talk about the burnout we just saw. The tires actually grow. The foot actually becomes smaller on the track as they move down the track.
Yes, it certainly does. You see here the tire growing in height. You look right to the right edge of that right tire, and you see how the bead is pulled in off the rim. Well, that's the centrifugal force. They grow sometimes as much as 6 to 8 inches in height. The competition here for Jim Booker is very stiff. This is the team of Candies and Hughes from Houma, Louisiana. Dave Settles out of Dallas, Texas is the driver. The Candies and Hughes team, noted in past years for funny cars, concentrating their efforts solely on the top fueler. Both cars hazing the tires, smoking them just a little bit off the line, but a close race.
A close race indeed. Jim Booker winning it by 0.04 of a second.
6.46 to 6.50. That is the elapsed time it takes to travel a standing start quarter of a mile from the starting line to this finish line. You'll see right there where you see the front part of the body of Jim Booker's car leading over the finish line.
Our next matchup, John Wiebe of Newton, Kansas, will be in the left lane against Herm Peterson. And Wiebe is the defending Top Fuel champion here at Spring Nationals.
Interesting story about Herm Peterson and the Peterson and Fitz car. They're all the way from Paulsbo, Washington. Herm Peterson suffered a serious accident a year ago, or about in July of a year ago, and was very severely burned. He has come back and is right now very, very competitive, matched up against John Wiebe in this quarterfinal round. And Peterson apparently having some trouble with his engine, as John Wiebe wins it a 6.53 to a 6.58. Very close race according to the times, but remember that each lane has its own individual clock. So the clock does not start for either lane until the car in that lane leaves. You saw there Wiebe a little bit out of shape, and here's the smoke out of the engine of Herm Peterson, and that spells trouble.
Checking the speed on that, Herm Peterson 185 miles an hour with the engine problem there at the end, and Wiebe 193 miles an hour.
But as you can see, Wiebe had his parachute out as he went across the finish line.
Gary Beck going against Grant Stoms. Stoms will be in the left lane. Gary Beck, a favorite here at National Trail Raceway, will be in the right lane.
Gary Beck has to be a favorite wherever he goes. He is the current national champion, having won that title 2 years in a row. Has been very, very strong. Recorded low elapsed time of round number 1 with a 6.09 second blast. Gary Beck from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. You see him concentrating on the starting system, making his final little burnout towards the starting line. Grant Stoms saying everything is okay. He from Edison, New Jersey.
And Gary Beck getting a great jump on this one. Tremendous time of 6.03, 236 miles an hour.
6:24 for Grant Stoms is nothing to sneeze at, but he matched up against the toughest guy running right now in Top Fuel Eliminator Racing, and that is Gary Beck. You see him leading into the traps here. The parachute starting to deploy as he crosses the finish line, going 236 miles an hour.
This matchup, Carl Olson, a favorite of many drag race fans and well known to them, will go against Mike Wagner. Wagner to be in the left lane, Olson in the right lane.
The team of Cool and Olson from Southern California, El Toro, Enid, Oklahoma's own Mike Wagner. Here is the concentration of Carl Olson approaching the staging beam. tightly encased in the roll cage is Mike Wagner. They leave the line together.
And Carl Olson is the winner.